Welcome to the Second 90 podcast, where we talk to people who have excelled or scaled up in an undefined path to find out how they did it and to know what keeps them going. So, Eddy, I've known you for a long time.
Very long time.
What would you say if someone asks you, what do you do?
I'm a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
Can I call myself an artist? Probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's some interesting answers. So when you say artist, basically I think an artist is someone who does art. What is your definition of art, Eddy?
My definition of art, I think anything in the creative space, creative field, music, painting, photography, sketching, anything. Anything in the creative space, I think qualifies as art. Yeah.
So is it just photography that you do or see as art, or are you involved in other artistic ventures
I think
like music?
I used to be involved in music for the longest time, but that has clearly taken a backseat.
Was it because too many strings attached?
No, like, I mean, I clearly remember, like, when I started photography, and that's exactly when music took a backseat, because this also takes up a lot of my time. And nowadays, music is more like personal, just for me. I play the guitar, so it's just for my listening pleasure that I play. Yeah. So clearly, music has taken a backseat. Yeah, but that's, I think those are the two things that I enjoy. Yeah.
You said when you started photography, do you remember when you started?
Yeah, I actually remember very vividly. I remember one trip that I took back in 2007, I think. Yeah, I remember going from Bangalore to Calcutta by train.
Okay.
And I think that was the first time, like, we carried, this was with my family. I think that was the first time we carried like a digital camera with us, a small one, whatever. And I was fascinated. Until then, you had like film and all that. You can't see stuff when you shoot something, right? When you take a picture. So this was very fascinating. And I think I was about 16, 17.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember taking pictures and being so excited, like, to be able to like look at them, view them immediately. And so I remember, yeah. So like I was saying, that was one trip that I think started my photography, sparked my interest in photography. And it's been a journey ever since then. So, yeah.
That's great. So I think when this trip happened, you were in high school?
I had just finished my 10th grade.
Okay.
I think after I finished my 10th grade, that summer vacation when I was going to PU, I think it was that during that time. I think it was 2006 or 2007, yeah.
Okay. So did this trip have an influence of your decision after 10th to choose in college, like which stream?
No, until I had finished my bachelor's degree, my undergrad, I hadn't actually given photography. I hadn't thought of photography as a career. I was till I finished my PU, I was very interested in archaeology. I actually wanted to become an archaeologist, but then I had one bad history teacher. Everybody has one teacher. So I had one bad, not bad, I mean, we didn't get along in PU, and that, like, kind of, because of him, I started hating history.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's when I switched and decided to do journalism, yeah, in college. But then photography as a career, I think, started only after I finished my college, yeah.
Okay. It's amazing how much influence a teacher can have on our decisions.
It is.
Just because you didn't like a teacher, you were influenced to actually change your future plans.
Yeah. And it was just 1 year. I remember, I mean, we're still friends on Facebook. like you said, it's crazy how one person can have
That
so much of
influence.
influence over your career and the choices that you make. Yeah.
I think every teacher has a huge responsibility. I feel like they're sort of grooming the next generation of
Definitely.
citizens.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and also you mentioned that you wanted to become an archaeologist. So that was your decision making process in your college.
No, actually,
In
from
your
school. In fact, I love history. I was very fascinated with history, and yeah. So that's the only way to. And from whatever research I did, archaeology was very interesting. And this started in high school. I remember when you need to start making decisions about whether you want to take science or commerce or arts. And I was too lazy for school, so arts was convenient. Yeah, but I remember. Yeah, this was in high school. That is when it started, and then PU also. I studied. In fact, I studied history in. I took up history in PU, wanting to pursue archaeology, but then this happened. Yeah. So,
And when you say archaeology, when you spoke about it to your family, I think India it's still very, maybe I'm not aware, but not
Yeah.
archaeology is not very prominent, I think.
oh
in
no,
it.
India is a land of history, right? I still remember before you were talking about prominence. I remember telling this to my dad, and he's like, "What is? I've never heard of this word called
Yeah.
archaeology." So, but I think no, there is scope for archaeology in India. I in fact have a friend who went on to become an archaeologist. So I think there is, and like I said, India has so much of history,
Okay.
so there's no dearth for that. Yeah.
So your family was supportive with
They've
archaeology?
been they've been supportive all throughout. I think that's been such a big blessing, because yeah, whatever choices I make, I mean, they've stood by me. So
Okay.
yeah.
So going back, you were in college, you wanted to become an archaeologist, and you took the courses that would lead you there, and you finished your 12th pre-university, and then there was another decision before you. What next? So how did you make that choice? I mean, or what influenced that choice?
Yeah, clearly I didn't like science or numbers.
Okay.
Just detested. I didn't know why we were studying chemicals and physics. I mean, I didn't like them. I mean, I didn't like the subject. Yeah. So the only other option was arts, and
You
history.
didn't like science or the people studying science?
No, science in general and numbers, which is commerce. So and like art, the art stream, you have a lot of options. Like you can do journalism, you can do history, economics, political science, literature. I love literature also. I mean, I fell in love with literature in college. Again, I had great teachers, like literature teachers in college. Like we were talking about how a teacher can influence a student. So yeah, I studied journalism, literature, and psychology. Yeah, that's what I studied.
Did you find psychology interesting?
Very interesting. It had a little bit of, like, we had to study a little bit of biology as well, but I loved all three subjects equally. Yeah. Then I went on to pursue journalism again, like after I finished my undergrad. So that's what I studied. Yeah.
Okay. So now coming back to college, what was that event or that point in time where you realized that photography is my thing? Or what led you to that realization?
Yeah, so in college, I was known as the guy with the camera. I had my camera with me always, all the time, and that was a time when you're learning a craft, right? And when you're excited and you love something, when you love something, you're excited to learn and practice. And I remember I had two good friends back then. One of them we still work together. We're still photographers. We started off together, three of us, and we would just like randomly, no money, just take camera, just go on trips and experiment, take photos. And my wife, who also studied with me, was a witness to all of this. So it was fun. I mean, that's how it started. Like I had a bunch of friends who were also interested, and touchwood, we're still photographers. I mean, we're still pursuing the same passion that we fell in love with 15 years ago. Yeah.
So you married your college sweetheart.
Yes, I did. Yeah, we studied together in college.
Is she also into photography?
No, she's not. Um, she's a counselor. She
Okay.
works in a school as a counselor. Yeah.
Great. Um, and you finished your bachelor's, and what happened next?
After which I was seriously considering pursuing a photography course after my bachelor's. Then I came to realize that India does not have a very good recognized photography course. Then I thought about studying abroad, but then it didn't work out for whatever reason because it's way too expensive. And I also believe photography, like, I have two thoughts about it. Like, you cannot learn photography in a classroom, like in four walls. The only way to learn photography is to shoot more. Just take your camera and train your eye. And you cannot learn how to train your eye in a classroom. So, completely changed my mind. And then I went to move to Manipal to pursue my master's in mass communication. Yeah.
Okay. So mass communication is sort of related to.
Yeah. So mass communication has journalism, has we had communications. I think that was one of the subject. And you have journalism. You have video news production and video production and how to shoot a video, how to document. And so it was an interesting course. Very chill, like very laid back kind of an atmosphere at college. So I enjoyed doing that. And the photography also was a subject for a semester in college. So yeah, that's what. So you have options after you finish your masters. You have various options to like branch out into. So some people work in PR, some people work in video and movie making and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's great. How did you land your first official gig as a photographer?
I remember this as well. So this was one of our friends. I think her brother was some event in their family, I remember. And so she knew I was into, like, I was just learning photography. I remember I got paid.
And she was your friend. That's how she knew you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember I got paid 2,000 rupees for that night's work. And I think that was the first. I didn't have a camera back then. I had to borrow somebody's DSLR and try to figure out how to use that. And then
Was
it
this
good
during
fun.
your college days, or was it after your
No. This was during my first year of college, like undergrad, UG.
bachelor's? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was fun. I remember they also wanted musicians, so I also played the guitar and we sang that night, and I also took pictures. So it was like a 2-in-1 kind of a
But
job.
you got paid only for photography.
Only for photography.
That's
But yeah,
interesting.
it was good. Good
So,
fun.
Eddie, I think you got your first gig in your bachelor's first year. So, does that mean that you were already a part-time photographer during your college days, and it continued?
Yeah.
It's
So
not
I
like-
started shooting like commercially. Started shooting when I was in college.
Okay.
I think by the time I had finished college, I think that's when I started shooting weddings. This was in 2012 when I was in my final year of college. So I remember I shot my first wedding in 2011 December. This was for a friend. There was no money involved, and I got my first like commercial. I got paid for a gig 6 months later when somebody hired me in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting that once you discovered that this is something you're passionate about, you didn't wait. You just started tasting it and experimenting with it, and also continued along with your college years. And I remember seeing your Facebook page many years ago. I think it was one of the first Facebook pages that I saw, because I was a little late to Facebook. It was called Eddy Photography, I think.
Yeah, that's what it was called.
Can you tell us something about that? How did
Facebook was in vogue those days, and didn't have a website, so that's where all my work used to go. And surprisingly, that's how I also got hired, because you need to show your work. Only when people see your work will they like hire you, right? So it was good. I mean, but I've stopped using that. I don't use Facebook anymore, so that page is inactive. But that was great. Like, got a lot of work through Facebook, which was this was like early social media. Yeah, so it was nice fun.
So you are also seeing how you can put out your work so that it's visible for the others, thinking
Definitely,
on
yeah,
what channels.
yeah.
What has helped you during this journey? I mean, how have you improved your skills, or
It's
sort of how do you sharpen your axe?
Mhm. So when I say photography, I primarily shoot weddings. So the fun part about my job is no two weddings are the same, and I get to meet new people every time I shoot a wedding, which is fun, like making new friends and stuff like that. But you can get into a creative block. Um, so it's very important. Like I love, apart from I travel for work, but then I love traveling even up outside of work, just to like recharge your mind and recharge your body, and otherwise you're gonna get into that like creative rut. You don't know how, because it might look like it's the same thing day in day out, but it's important to keep your mind fresh as well. Yeah.
Eddie, how's the process? I mean, how do you know that this would make a good picture? Because I saw some of your pictures on Instagram and they're really interesting, different angles, different perspectives, colors, lights. There's
Yeah.
a lot of factors, variations that go into each one of these
Yeah.
pictures. So, is this something that you see beforehand, um, or do you have a complete perspective on things? Do you see things differently? How is
Yeah.
it?
I think like we were talking, like it's very important to train your eye, um, train your eye to see things, and I think photography has helped me to become more observant about my surroundings and things around me and people and stuff like that, because it's very important in my line of job to.
Is it a learned skill or a born
I
with skill?
think I think you can acquire it. I mean, being observant is very important. Like I said, it's an acquired skill, I'd say. But training your eye, you can do it. I mean, you just do it day in day out. So yeah, train your eye to see things and colors and patterns and emotion and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Let's assume there's a young person listening, maybe in high school or college, and he or she wants to give it a try. They have a feeling that they may be a good photographer. How do you think he or she should start?
The best way to learn is first to shoot and shoot, like shoot, just go out and shoot a lot, and then definitely like you work with somebody's work you like. You can intern with photographers, or you can intern with studios and stuff like that. But before that, I think for you to grow as a photographer, it's very important to shoot a lot. Yeah. So yeah, and there's also that 10,000 hour rule, where you do something for 10,000 hours. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I think that holds
True.
very true. Yeah.
What if they're on a budget? What would be a camera you would suggest for someone who's on a budget? to
See,
start
nowadays all of our smartphones have really good cameras. You don't even need a DSLR or a fancy expensive camera to shoot. I shoot a lot of my images on my phone, and I love shooting on my phone because it's easy, versatile. Like you just flip out your phone from the pocket and then take a picture, and it's discreet as well. So a camera sometimes can be like people will notice a big camera in your hand. So I think the best camera that you can shoot on is the one that you have. So yeah,
Start with what you have.
start with what you have. Definitely.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Just curious, which phone do you use?
I use both. I have a Pixel 7 and I use an iPhone as well. I've loved the Pixel cameras.
Okay.
So this is my
Is it better
fourth.
than the iPhone?
Yeah, I'd say it's better than the iPhone. So this is my fourth Pixel phone. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's great. And I think I remember asking you your New Year's resolution, and you said 1080 pixels.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
coming back, Eddie, with regard to social media or marketing, Today, where do all the photographers put their content out? Is it Instagram or
Yeah, I, Instagram has become like, I think Instagram is almost dead for photographs. Like, I
There's
think
too much.
there's just too much. I mean, I don't think photographs work on Instagram anymore because it's all about reels and videos. The best way to do it would be to have a website. Nothing like it looks more professional. Looks like like a random person who sees your website would want to hire. I mean, would want to hire you than like see random images on Instagram. So I think having nothing beats like having a website. So I think it's very important to have a website. Having said that, I don't have one, but I do have my work up online. So that's how I get hired.
Sure. Also, you mentioned that your first gig as a photographer, you were paid about 2,000 rupees. So now, how much do you charge for, let's say, a wedding?
So
if you're comfortable saying the price.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, no two weddings are the same. There are certain types. For example, when you talk about a Christian wedding, it's the same. Like you have a wedding followed by a break, and then you have a reception. So even in that, like sometimes it might be just 4 hours, sometimes it might be 8 hours. But for a day, we charge anywhere between 80,000 to a lakh for photography. That's the rate going around. So, but yeah, I mean, that's how much we charge. It depends on how many days, how many events you have, and how many days and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's interesting. From 2,000 to about a lakh, and that's the scale you have grown to. And how many years did this take?
I've been shooting commercially for 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah, I shot my first wedding in 2012. So yeah, 11 years.
So this growth required almost a decade of hard work.
Definitely, yeah.
Were there times where you felt like you made the wrong decision?
Absolutely not. I think the day I feel that I can't cheat myself and shoot for the sake of money. The day I lose interest or I feel I'm burnt out, I think I will stop shooting commercially or maybe shoot something else. Yeah, but yeah.
What's the future like for photography?
Technology is taking over future. AI is everywhere. A lot of automated softwares which does a lot of work that we do manually, like editing and culling and selecting images, is now done by softwares. So I'm sure there will come a point where you can miss a focus in a photograph and still rectify it, or there might be something that will come up in the near future, but technology cannot replace a human eye or a vision, So I think you still need somebody behind the camera to press that shutter button.
Great. What would you say to someone starting out, a bit unsure? Would you encourage them to pursue and go ahead? What are your thoughts to someone starting?
Definitely. I mean, we live in the age of social media where everything is about visuals, right? So somebody starting out, I think, and also you have so many avenues now, to shoot. It wasn't as hard as back when I started. Photography as a career back then wasn't a big thing, but nowadays I see a lot of young people, people in college who also shoot and stuff like that. So I think there is a huge scope for this career. Yeah, definitely. If somebody is looking to do it, I think they should pursue it without any hesitance. Yeah.
I missed out this question earlier. How do you get most of your work? What are the marketing strategies that you follow?
Yeah, so for me, like I said, I don't have a website. My biggest marketing tool has been word of mouth. And I believe a happy bride is your biggest marketer. Forget the grooms, but if your bride is happy, she's going to tell her friends, and then her friends are going to want and hire you. And so I've shot a lot of weddings where I've shot a bunch of friends and their weddings, and so I think nothing like word of mouth. And then I mean, I'm not very active on social media, so a little bit of social media as well. But for me, it has been word of mouth. Yeah.
And I think you also do a lot of traveling.
Yeah, work takes me has taken me to fancy places, but it's nice. I mean, it's part of the that's the more tiring bit. Yeah, but it's good.
Something you enjoy.
Something that I enjoy. Yeah, I get to see new places, new food, and I love traveling. So yeah.
How's your calendar like the next 3 months?
Also, I just finished a very, very hectic wedding season. So in India, we usually have seasons. Like usually you have November, December, Jan, and Feb being the most busiest wedding season. And then you have a few months of break in between. And then again, it starts in, I think, June, July, August types. Yeah. But so I just finished a very hectic wedding season. I'm looking forward to taking a break. Yeah.
If someone would like to reach out to you for advice, or let's say they want to talk to you about their wedding, how can they reach you? Would you prefer a DM or a mail or a call?
I always prefer like talking over the phone because that's when or meeting in person as well. That's when I like building relationships before I go and start shooting, because otherwise it's going to be very weird. I'll end up on your wedding day and then you don't know me, I don't know you, and then just start shooting. But if you have that comfort zone, just break the ice, say hi, whatever. So I think phone call would be the best, or an email. But I always insist on meeting my clients before I shoot the wedding. Yeah, I need to know if it's very important to be on the same wavelength and on the same page when you start shooting. So yeah.
Would you be okay if we mention your number in the description, your contact number?
Yeah, probably. Or even my email ID will do.
Sure, that's great.
Yeah.
We'll add that up so people can reach you for advice or even as a client.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Eddy. Is there something you'd like to say before we close?
Thank you, Paul, for realizing this dream half a decade later. It's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, this is my first podcast as well, so it's been fun. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Eddy, and wishing you and your family good health this year.
Thank you.
We hope this episode added to your learning journey. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on future episodes. Have an excellent week ahead.